Hello everyone, this is Defense Politics Asia, and this is the Kursk Offensive update. A quick update over at the Kursk front. And so in case you do not know where is Kursk, is over here, this is Kursk. This is the Kursk Oblast, and this is where the offensive is currently ongoing. And so we're going to go, there is a new sector that has appeared over in the Kursk front. Is basically over at Tekino, with the Ukrainians have started to launch a new offensive from this direction. So tentatively, I'm going to call this the Tekino sector because this area is our western sector or the western front. So and then we have the northern, so western front, northern front, maybe, and then the Sudja or the central front, and then we have or previously known as the eastern front. Okay, let's call this the eastern front, and then the below this part, this is the southern front. So we're going to start out with the major news, which is actually the blowing up of three major bridges along this river called the Reka Sim. So this Reka Sim river previously in yesterday's report on 16, no, so it's 2 days ago, there's the major bridge over at the town of Glushkovo has been destroyed. This comes after they first tried to destroy it with HIMARS. It did not work, so they actually went on to do an airstrike, and the airstrike actually managed to destroy the bridge. And subsequently, two more bridges has just been reportedly destroyed over at this bridge. So this I put it red. This Karis, as well as over at Zavanoe. So Ukrainian forces have actually blown up both of these bridges. So this is significant because which means that the Russian forces is going to have extreme difficulty to cross over to this southern part of the river. So if you put the mapping, you can see that there is this river. So we don't go that far yet. So let's talk about this river here. This is the CM River, and then Reka CM, and then it goes all the way. Oh, I follow the road. I follow the road. So sorry, but again the river and then it goes all the way like this. And there is a few bridges around here. There's one bridge here. One. So I forgot to clear the again. Let's do it again. So this is the bridge. This is the river. The Russians have a bridge over at Glushkovo, over at Zavanoe, at Karis, and these bridges are now all destroyed. And I don't think there is any more bridges around here. Doesn't look like it. Is this a bridge? It doesn't look much like a bridge to me. So there's no more bridges around here, and I believe there should be one more bridge around here. Yeah, there's one bridge around here, and this bridge is towards Tekino, and so this links this very far away place called Otruba to Tekino, but that is probably the Ukrainians will preserve it because they probably need to use it. So the next bridge after Klukovo, you can, if we follow the river, is going to be at Tekino. It's a bit very off from where the fighting would probably come to, and this in this area here, the Ukrainians have already come to this region, and this road actually leads to Krasno Oto Yabeskoye, which is where the Ukrainians previously have also arrived at. So this bridge is not that useful. So this is an important development, which means that the Ukrainian forces can potentially now take all of this area here with limited Russian obstacles, because the Russians will find it really hard to cross over to the southern part of the river, and they will have to use pontoon crossing, boats and whatnot. And the advantage now is on the Ukrainian side. The Russian forces, tentatively, from my understanding, they are still defending at Tekino, and also at Gordievka. However, this situation will not be tenable much longer because the Ukrainian forces have also cut the only way in around here due to the latest developments over on this western front. So let's talk about this part first. The Ukrainian forces have entered into a new sector of the border region and entered to this Otruba region and have captured everything along the river. The Russian forces are still holding this Tekino region, but I think that the Russian forces will abandon the position pretty soon. As soon as they can evacuate as much civilians as they can do, and then I think the troops will have to run. And the Ukrainians seems to have a big force gathered around here. If you can see, the Russians has been shelling in this region. It looks like the Ukrainian forces have a force over here. This probably assists in the attack of the Atruba. And then there's a nearer force that will probably attack into Tekino, and the reserve force in the rear position over at Bilopilia and Vorozba. So this will allow the Ukrainians to double down on this offensive around here. The capture in around this area is going to be very fast. I think the Russians is going to be just run away, and I don't think they will come. They will fight this battle because it's just too difficult due to the geographical problems that is now presented because of the destruction of all the bridges. So, but it depends. Maybe the Russians will just send more forces in to hold back and delay the eventual capture of this entire region. But the destruction of the bridge, of course, also poses another problem, which means that the Ukrainians may not have intention to go to the northern part of this area here. Because if you blow the bridges, not just the Russians can't come over, but you also cannot go over. But maybe to the Ukrainians, this is not important. Maybe this is going to be used by the Ukrainians for future negotiations, during the peace deal for land trades or something like this. So this is a very significant development, and this is a pincer in a way, and they will head towards Glushkovo and capture the entire area here. Over at this western flank, the Ukrainian forces have made some significant progress, particularly over in this southern part, which is part of the Pincer. According to the information from Deep State UA, the pro-Ukrainian source, the Ukrainian forces have actually recaptured Snagos. The Russian forces previously was defending this position, but it seems like they cannot hold back the Ukrainians, as the Ukrainians probably sent in a very big force, as this is a major offensive operation for them to capture this entire ground. And based on this mapping from the Ukrainian side, it also suggests that the Ukrainians have also captured Panasovka, and based on the information from the Russian Defense Ministry, the fighting has arrived over at Komarovka, which means that the Russian forces may or may not even be here anymore. The Ukrainians are already attacking this position. Maybe this fighting over here is simply the Russians shelling the Ukrainian forces, and the Ukrainians have probably, maybe even have already taken this position. That is a possibility. And previously we have the Ukrainians. Let me scroll down a bit. Previously we have the Ukrainians have sent scouts or vanguards all the way to Krasno-Otobeskoye. So and this was not very, very confirmed during those times, but given the development that we are seeing right now, there's a good chance that the Ukrainians may actually have even captured the entire region here already. There's a high chance that this is actually the case. So, and from Komarovka, moving all the way to this major town of Glushkovo is actually not that far. We are talking about a distance of only 10 kilometers, which means the Ukrainian forces could just drive down the road and head up in probably a matter of half an hour at most, and you are talking about driving at very, very low speed. So the situation here is going to be very bad. I think the Russians is going to build some covering force around these major roads, and then they will do evacuation as much as they can. There is previous satellite imagery showing Russian forces have some pontoon crossing around this area here. So we are not sure whether the pontoon is still there, and how this evacuation is going to be done. Previously, we have already have announcement from the deputy governor of the Glushkovo region, forcing a mandatory evacuation of Glushkovo. I'm not sure if this applies to the entire region or it's just the town. So this is something that for you to think about, because it could actually mean the entire region, but the source road village of Glushkovo. So that's kind of like a problematic thing. So this battle is going to come. This is going to be a big victory for the Ukrainians, capturing yet another huge ground. We are talking about a distance of 40 kilometers, 40 kilometers, 50 kilometers. So it's going to be a big capture. So over the north of this Snagos region, over at Karenevo, Ukrainian forces continue to put pressure with Ukrainian mapping, drawing the map really close to the settlement of Karenevo. However, the Russians continue to hold a very strong defense around here. With the latest information coming from pro-Russian sources saying that the Ukrainians tried to enter the village, but again did not manage to get through. However, the Ukrainians did manage to get through into Ogovka. This is mapped and then geolocated as well of Ukrainian forces entering into Ogovka. It's still not confirmed that they have fully captured the village. There's a high chance they did have captured it, and so there's a tank that was destroyed, but then that just simply shows Ukrainian presence around the area. Based on the latest information from the Russian Defense Ministry, there is reports of Russian forces repelling Ukrainian attack at Ogovka. So this also could suggest that Russian forces may be present in the region, so it may not necessarily be a capture just yet. However, the Ukrainian attack previously there was this attack. Let me pull this entire thing down. Previously, the Ukrainians have this attack coming up north to the northern part of Karenevo. This is no longer being reported. So there's a high chance that the Russians have already plugged the gap around here, and they have actually closed up this area, preventing Ukrainians from entering into this weak spot, potentially weak spot of the Russian side. So this is a strong line from the Russians, and however, the entire line south of this location is now melting away. So I think the Russians is going to bite the bullet and let the Ukrainians capture the entire place, because I don't think they can defend that place tentatively. So that's the situation over in this entire of the western sector of the Kursk front. Over in the northern sector, the Ukrainian forces still fighting in this Kauchuk region. The Kauchuk line continues to hold. Ukrainian forces are attacking Alexievskiv, Spetuskovka, Skrilevka, as well as Safanovka, with Skrilevka being the latest information, as well as Sheptukovka. So this is the just published information from the Russian Defense Ministry as per this recording. So Russian forces continue to hold this very strong line, all leading all the way to Anastasievka. So from Anastasievka, Alexievsky, Kauchuk, Sheptukovka, Skrilevka, Vavarovka, Safonovka, as well as Obishiv Kolodes. This is a very strong Russian line. And Ukrainian forces previously tried to penetrate through Safonovka, has been ambushed and destroyed. So Ukrainian forces are still trying to attack in this region here. They are not giving up yet. Seems like there is something very important for the Ukrainian forces to achieve in this sector, that they have to go through this area, because this is a break away from the initial part of the Kursk Offensive, where the Ukrainians find weak spots in the countryside and try to penetrate through. It seems that in this sector, they must go through this area instead of probably going into some other regions. It looks like they must go through this sector. So and so far they have not have much luck in this area, and this is as far as the this is probably the first line of Russian defense, the real line of defense around here. So it covers Lvov in the north. So this is very important to the Russians, I guess, because if the line breaks, the Ukrainians could reach all the way to Lvov, which is a major city. So let's see how this develop. So far, no luck over there. There is the MLRS tornado hitting a column over at Novoivanovka. So there is probably some Ukrainian reinforcement or forward operating position around here, which attracted some Russian strikes around this position. Then this makes a perfect location. This make perfect sense that the Ukrainians are actually positioned around here, able to provide forces in all directions to supply and to support their operations in this area here. This makes perfect sense. This is a very central area. Over on this eastern flank, on the eastern flank, the Ukrainian forces continue to be attacking in the region of Ruskoye Porosnoye as well as Cherkasskoye Porosnoye. Russian forces shouting Kotsitsa. This is previously I have already mentioned that the Ukrainian forces have captured Kotsitsa, and we have geolocation of a Russian Fab 3000, a 3000 kg glide bomb have struck south of Kotsitsa. So this could be related reports, and the Ukrainians still did not manage to break through in this area. Russian forces have a seemingly firm control over in Rostskoye Porosnoye. Previously, Ukrainian forces was geolocated pretty deep in the settlement, but it doesn't trigger a capture, information of capture. So there's a high chance that the Russians are still sending reinforcement down to this region here to defend the line. And this entire tentacle that flies all the way up towards, I believe, the Kursk nuclear power plant region, or Kursk itself. This highway goes all the way to the Kursk city. I don't think the Ukrainians are there anymore. I think the Russians have probably covered this entire region already. So Ukrainian forces continue to try. So far, no luck. Again, yet another line where the Ukrainians are trying to push through a defended line and they can't get through. So moving on down to the Sudja sector. At the Sudja sector, which is over here, Russian forces are counterattacking over in the Mikhailovka region. Ukrainian forces, in the latest report, information coming from the pro-Russian sources suggests that the Ukrainian forces are attacking from Agronom towards Raskaya Konopelka, which means that the Ukrainian forces have captured Agronom, which is why it triggers our mapping to draw this Agronom as under Ukrainian control. Russian forces have a defensive position over at Raskaya Konopelka, and previously we understood that the Russians are in the position in the area of Martinovka. So we are probably seeing some strong defense line leading all the way down to Ruskaya Konopelka. And the Ukrainian forces are now trying to attack in this direction. And so far, according to the report from the pro-Russian side, they say that this attack was repelled due to drone strikes. So the column of armored vehicles was attacked by FPV drones. So I think the attack has been abandoned, I guess. I'm not sure. So anyway, the Ukrainians are still trying their best to secure the entire region. We still have some settlements not accounted for, like Dmitrievkov as well as Komakov. This could still be under Russian control. We do not know, which is why the situation at Sudja is actually not that secure for the Ukrainians yet. So far, you may have seen, especially you're pro-Ukrainian, you may have seen a lot of footages coming out from Sudja. All the footages are taken from the eastern part of or the western part of Sudja, not exactly on the eastern part. Maybe in this area here in the northern part, yes, but in the southern part over around here where the battlefront is not exactly the case. So, and there is also a video posted by a civilian, which this lady described his experience getting stuck in Sudja, which is probably where she stayed. And she said that the Russian Marines are in the region that helped them to escape from the city. So this confirms that the Russian Marines are actually fighting in the region. And then we actually also saw corroborating information from other sources talking about the Russian Marines operating in this area. So this confirms that the Russian Marines are now operating in the Kursk front on the Russian side, on top of some of these special forces. Some other units I'm not so sure because I don't track units, but I thought there's some interesting tidbits that you may be interested in. So moving away from the Sudja sector, over in the southern front, on the southern sector, the Russian forces are attacking Ukrainian forces over at Boki. They are also reportedly attacking Ukrainian forces over at Fanasievka as well as Cherkasskaya Konopelka. And the fact that the Russian Defense Ministry mentioned the inflicting of losses on the Ukrainian forces and hardware in this region, which means that the Ukrainian forces must be in this region. The previous mapping, the previous mapping is a bit far away. Is over here. This and this doesn't make sense for fighting to be reported near in this region, which means that I believe that the Ukrainian forces have managed to cross the river around here, or the and whatever natural barriers there are, and actually, straighten the front line in this region as they try to push through the countryside towards Cherkasskoye, Panopelka, as well as Fanasievka. So this is why, based on the DPA's educated guess and estimation, our analysis, this is where the new front line currently exists. But there is no indications, however, the Ukrainians that have captured Cherkasskaya, Konopelka, or Fanasievka. So this probably still under Russian control, with the Russians holding the line along the river, and they're trying to take back Borovki. Shelling was reported south of Kurilovka, according to the Russian Defense Ministry, in the yesterday's report. So this suggests that Ukrainian forces do have some forces in this area. This could be the forward operating position for the Ukrainians, but I believe that Plekhovo makes more sense. So most likely these are just some forces that are defending the or holding in this area here. Maybe it's a pontoon crossing, because south of this town is river. So there could be a case where the Ukrainians actually have a pontoon crossing around here, which is why it attracted Russian strikes in this area here. Maybe there's a gathering of equipment that is queuing up to cross over to the other side, and this attracted the strikes from the Russian side. So this is currently what is happening, and of course the river systems that are not causing problems for the Russians, but they also cause problems for the Ukrainians. So the Ukrainians have to cross the Sel River in order to come over to the other side. In terms of the frontline situation, Russian forces continue to be lightly holding Krupets and Ozeki, with Giri secured. Ukrainian forces are holding Spinoye. There's no updates regarding any of these changes around here. Ukrainian forces probably are holding positions around this forest near the border, which makes perfect sense. Anything south of this location is a question mark. This entire area is a question mark. It is always possible that the Ukrainians may try to go through this area because it's undefended, but this would lead them to nowhere, which is a problem, and it will go all the way to Belgorod, and there is also reports of at Kolotivlovka, if I not remember wrongly, the Chechen forces are here. The Chechen forces are defending Kolotilovka, and this is actually over in the Belgorod sector, Belgorod Oblast, the Belgorod area, which means that I can also extrapolate from this area that the Russian forces around this area, it might actually be stronger, because Belgorod is a more active front line, and they have the Chechen forces around here, which means the Ukrainians may not want to incur southward, because that will just cause them to face a much more powerful foe, perhaps. So anyway, that is the current situation over in this area. And we look at the shelling reports. We have, other than those that I've already covered, within Sumy region, we have some shelling report over in Basivka, Satki, Maropilia, as well as Novosich and Kikiansea. So this could also all indicate where the Ukrainians are positioning their reserve or logistic hubs or command bases. So this makes perfect sense. This is like a reserve base, and then you have a forward base in these various locations which support different operations. Maropilia may be supporting the southern front. Saki may be supporting the offensive south of Sudja, and Basivka might be going into the Sudja region, which all makes perfect sense. So we will continue to monitor this shelling reports to see how this goes. And clearly in this area here, all these different locations are supporting the operations in the Tekino sector. Wrong color. In the Tekino sector, where the Ukrainian forces may start to push soon. We will see, I believe, within the next 24-48 hours, we will see Tekino falling to the Ukrainians. I believe this is going to come soon, unavoidable. And there is also interesting shelling report over in Shalihaini. So this is reported by the Russian Defense Ministry yesterday, with their shelling reported here. Previously, there is reports of Ukrainian forces gathering forces around the forest region around Khrushchev. So and this was previously believed that the Ukrainians may launch an offensive across the border towards the city of Rylis. Is this a city? Town of Rylis. And previously it was believed that the Ukrainians want to capture Karenevo, going for Rylis, and then this force from Khrushchev attack in the Pincer movement to capture Rylis. This will give them a very strong forward base, which then they can use to attack towards Lvov and the Kursk nuclear power plant. However, this plan have not played out yet, so the Ukrainians are going for the smaller Pincer first, and this Pincer is most likely going to succeed. And then from this position, the Ukrainians can actually plan a much bigger operation, perhaps in a 3-pronged attack. That could also work. So whatever it is, these are all looking all right. It's not too bad. I wouldn't say it looks good. Of course, if you talk about the Glushkovo sector, this is definitely looking very, 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 very good for the Ukrainians. But if you talk about Kursk Offensive is in the whole, in the entirety, is looking only okay, because the Russian lines are getting a bit too strong. The Ukrainians are unable to break through, particularly over in the northern sector, over in the Poroshnye sectors, in the north of Sudzha, in the east of Sudzha, and as well as on the western line around Karenevo. All these lines are so strong, the Ukrainians have not been able to break through. So these are very disturbing signs for the Ukrainians. So whatever it is, the Ukrainians are not going to back down. There is heavy losses of territory over in the Donetsk front, in the New York front, in the Adivka front, and also in the Kupiansk front. So Ukrainians are betting everything on this to hopefully do something for Ukraine. The war within Ukraine itself is not looking very good. In fact, it's looking really, really bad. In case you are pro-Ukrainian and you have not been following all these news, because the pro-Ukrainian YouTubers are not telling you it. I'm telling you, do check out the Frontline Changes report that is before this video, or you can check out the even more detailed analysis video in the situation report on the DPA War channel. So check out the SIP rep, and I'll see you guys in the next update.